In today's episode, we return to the book Switch by Chip and Dan Heath. We'll examine the second major concept in the book, the exhaustibility of self-control, and introduce the metaphor of the elephant and rider. Clocky is an alarm clock with wheels. When it goes off, it rolls off your nightstand, forcing you to chase it if you want to stop its alarm. It sold 35,000 units at $50 each in its first 2 years on the market. The success of Clocky tells us that a lot of people have a problem with hitting the snooze and snoozing past appointments. It shows us that people are of two minds: a rational mind that wants to get up early and have plenty of time to make it to work, and an emotional mind that wants to stay in those warm blankets just a few minutes more. We see this two-mindedness everywhere. When we start a new diet, we throw out junk food because our rational mind knows that our emotional mind will not be able to resist cravings when they come. The psychologist Jonathan Raitt used a colorful metaphor to describe our two minds. The emotional mind is an elephant, and the rational mind is its rider. The rider holds the reins and seems to be the leader, but the rider's control is precarious because he is no match for the heavy elephant when they disagree about what direction to go in. Some college students were asked to participate in a study of food perception. They were asked to arrive hungry and were led to a room that smelled of fresh-baked chocolate chip cookies. At the center of the room was a table with two bowls. In one bowl were fresh cookies. In another bowl, it was radishes. The researchers told the students that they would receive follow-up questions about their memories of the distinct flavors of cookies and radishes, but this was just a cover story. Half the students were asked to eat 2 or 3 cookies and no radishes. The other half were asked to eat 2 or 3 radishes and no cookies. This so-called taste study was supposed to be over when they finished eating, but then a second group of researchers entered the room with a second, supposedly unrelated study on the ability to solve a certain kind of puzzle. The college students were given puzzles that required them to trace a geometric shape without lifting their pens or retracing any lines. They were given multiple sheets of paper so they could try as many times as they needed. The puzzles were actually unsolvable. The researchers wanted to see how long the college students would persist at such a frustrating task before giving up. The students who did not have to resist eating the chocolate chip cookies spent 19 minutes on the task. The radish eaters gave up after only 8 minutes. Why did they give up so easily? They ran out of self-control, demonstrating that self-control is an exhaustible resource. This has large implications because self-control isn't just the willpower to fight vice, but is any kind of self-supervision. Think about how your mind works when you're doing something complicated that is not routine, such as assembling a new bookshelf or learning a new dance. You're careful and deliberate with your actions. Contrast that with those times when you're mostly on autopilot. Have you had a sensation while driving that you can't remember the last few miles of road? Or think about the easy, unthinking way you take a shower or make your morning coffee. The research shows that we burn up self-control when we are managing the impression we are making on others, coping with fears, controlling our spending, or trying to focus on simple instructions like, don't think of a white bear. This matters for change because when someone is trying to change something, they're usually tinkering with behavior that had become automatic. And changing that requires careful supervision. The bigger the change, the more it will sap people's self-control. When you exhaust people's self-control, you're exhausting precisely the mental muscles needed to make a big change. And that's the second surprise about change. What looks like laziness is often exhaustion.